to the pop culture cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Pod. No, God, it's in my head.
It's all right. It's all right. Everybody knows what you're talking about.
It's the pop culture cosmos. That's how it happens when you do too many shows and you don't get enough sleep. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from the pop culture cosmos. Now I say the Lakers Fast Break, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Welcome everyone to a new week right here in the Christmas holiday season. But it would be a pop culture cosmos without my compadre in crime. Well, the Lakers Fast Break wouldn't be in existence without the pop culture cosmos, because that's where I started my sports talk there first. So it owes a debt of gratitude to the pop culture cosmos. But it wouldn't be a pop culture cosmos without my compadre in crime now for what? Closing in on 10 years since we've been doing podcasts and almost 10 years been doing the show. It is my good friend. It is Josh the Great Peterson. You got to go ahead and make sure you take care of him out there at the Happy Hoarder and all that good stuff this Christmas holiday season. What's up, man?
So first of all, let me say it's an absolute honor to be invited onto the Lakers Culture Cosmos. I feel like I've been waiting for this moment my entire life.
Oh, man. See, you're busy with your weekend, and so am I. It's so funny because you were out at the Ridgeland Mall again, hopefully selling a ton of Pokemon for the holiday season, and I was busy running the channel for the Lakers Fast Break and trying to get in between, as far as people fighting back and forth about their opinions on the Lakers. And so, yeah, it just all adds up. And then there's all the stuff that, is going on around the world. Too bad nothing happened in the entertainment world recently. I don't know. Should we even have a show today? Because it's kind of boring right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just complete dry spell.
Exactly. Nothing's going on. Not like there's a big surprise at the box office about another big hit for Blumhouse. Nothing like a deal going on between, as far as a major studio possibly being bought, maybe not, because there's a hostile takeover within the past hour. Golden Globe got nominations. Nobody really cares about that. Plus Game Award predictions. CCXP, which is the major pop culture event in Brazil, which is now one of the hot spots for pop culture shows and conventions. And of course, an MCU review. So, you know what? I think we'll be barely able to fill the time this week. So we'll see what happens, my friend. We'll try to stretch out the conversations, and I think we'll be able to barely cover the hour, my friend. I think we'll get it done. How about you?
Yeah, no, I'm nervous, man. It's just what else do we have to talk about? Just you know, we could spend an entire hour probably just talking about like Guy Fieri's cooking shows. If you want to. I'm just saying
That's true, or it could go back to the Lakers and all that, like I started the show. But I don't want to do that right now. I talk about them enough during the course of the week. But it is, of course, the pop culture cosmos. Thank you so much for watching, listening. Big shout out to our good friends, of course, this holiday season at, of course, Retro City Games. They just finished their dollar sidewalk sale. It was a huge success. Also want to give them some love as far as for the holiday season. If you need some really great pop culture gifts, video games, Pokemon, and more here in the Las Vegas area, they've got 4 great stores to serve you. It is our good friends at Retro City Games. So please go ahead and give Doug and Nicole, Antonio, and the whole entire crew at Retro City Games a big shout out this holiday season. So yeah, can't wait for the holidays right now. But my friend, there actually is a lot to talk about. So let's get into it. First things first, let's go ahead and start talking the box office before we get into the nitty gritty as far as the big Warner Brothers deal that still continues. This drama still continues to this day, to this hour, so to speak. But this weekend at the box office, Five Nights at Freddy 2. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 won the box office. Domestically, it closed in right around the $70 million mark, over $100 million worldwide. Almost quite the opening of the first one that came out a couple years ago. But I mean, even though the production budget was a little bit more expensive, between $35 and $50 million, it is still looking to generate a considerable profit when all is said and done for Universal and Blumhouse. A great success for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I know that there's 11 games if you talk about the entire bandwidth of the entire IP. So there's plenty of more movies to come, I think. And I'm not sure I'm ready for them, Josh, because I saw FNAF 2 yesterday and it's a movie.
Oh, that's what I like to hear. All right, well, let me baseline this. All right, so like I thought the first one was not good. It wasn't like, but it entertained me. Like I sat down on my couch, watched it, and I was like, oh, this is like I don't regret spending the past hour and a half watching this movie.
I did. I told you that on here.
I remember we had this conversation. I couldn't remember exactly where you stood on it. I was like, oh, it's just a decent popcorn flick. It's not like anything that is worthy of making a ton of money or being nominated for an award. It's a movie, and it did what movies are supposed to do. Just help me pass a couple hours.
I will say this. This is going to be a repeat of what I said 2 years ago, and it'll be a repeat of what I'll say 2 years from now when the next one comes out, because they set that up with one sentence near the end of the movie. All it took is one sentence. If you are invested in the Five Nights at Freddy universe, you may like it. Although my youngest daughter is a FNAF fan. That's why I went. That's why we saw the first one. That's why I went to this one. She liked the first one. I said if I didn't, because I'm not invested in the universe, so I thought it was trash. My stance remains unchanged after the second one, and maybe even more so. Although, again, people are saying that this is slightly better, or no, this was slightly worse. This is slightly worse than the first one. The first one was reviewed horribly. So, this movie sucked. Although, again, from someone who watched Amazon's War of the Worlds movie this past year as well. Yeah, it's a race to the bottom, and I think Amazon's War of the Worlds still wins by a nose. But I can tell you, this was such a badly written movie. I mean, Josh, as a writer yourself, when you watch this movie and you just try to go through the dialogue and just try to understand how it could be written by that. I'll just say this again. The director was the same as the first one. Gee, why mess with a great thing? It worked so well last time, I guess. And then the writer of the game, the creator of the game, I believe, is the sole writer. He was a co-writer on the first one. He's the sole writer on this one. I may be mistaken, but I think the writer is the same one from the video games and is also the co-writer on the first one. This was some bad dialogue. This was some really bad dialogue. The screen, this is just a terrible game and a terrible movie. Excuse me. The games, like I said, if you enjoy the games, more power to you. If you enjoy the universe, more power to you. And some people actually were liking it because it relates to the universe. But again, if my daughter, who's a fan, couldn't really get into it, I don't know how many people will. This movie is just utter trash. And again, it's a race to the bottom between that and War of the Worlds. But I will say this: more power to them, because people keep coming to watch it. People enjoy still going to watch it. But Josh Hutcherson, man, between collecting those paychecks for the Hunger Games, he's now collecting paychecks for Five Nights at Freddy's, and he is just mailing it in. He is just phoning it in. I have never seen anyone less interested in acting than Josh Hutcherson in this movie. And I'll tell you what, the best performance, if you could call it that, in quotations, is the guy Quentin Tarantino just trashed along with Paul Dano and Owen Wilson, and that was Matthew Lillard. And that'll tell you all you need to know, my friend, because this movie was bad.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Hutcherson in the first one didn't look like he was really having a good time either, but
I am just going to go monotone for an hour and 45 minutes and see
Yeah.
how you like it. And
Actually, that's like him in every movie though that I've ever seen him in.
he emoted a little bit more in Hunger Games, my friend, just a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna rush off to the theaters to watch it, but if once it comes out on streaming, I'll probably sit down and check it out and see what I think, man.
I'll just say this: it's a movie that might cancel your Peacock subscription.
Yeah, I mean, the games are a very like niche property, like there are hardcore fans out there, and then
And there was people dressing up in the Five Nights at Freddy's gear at the screening that we went to, and if you are a fan, more power to you for that, and it's great to see. When something is supported like that, it's absolutely fantastic to see. But yeah, if you're watching it as a movie, no, and there's like jump scares every 5 seconds, so
yeah.
the jump scares get lessened over the course of the entire movie, and it's just basic horror 101. You save the jump scares for vital moments in the movie, and you don't try to do it every 5 minutes, and it just lessens the impact each and every time you do it, because then the audience is expecting it, and there's logic holes the size of the Grand Canyon. There's just things that are said in the movie that just leave you scratching your head. It is absolutely a terrible movie, but again, it made a lot of money. So whatever I say about it is irrelevant in this case, Josh, because people are going to go see it anyways, and they're going to look for Easter eggs. Fans are going to look for Easter eggs every which way they go. And since there's 11 games in the whole itinerary of Five Nights at Freddy, there's a long way to go as long as it keeps on making money.
You know what's funny? So with we talk about video game properties and movies. They're like this one does have that niche fan base. But you go to like Halo, right? You say Halo, Call of Duty, everyone from like all sides of the spectrum, even people who don't play video games, like, oh yeah, I've heard of those before. But then you say like Five Nights at Freddy's, and they're like, I have no idea what that is. Or on the other side of that, they're like, I want to be in that game so bad. Like it's not there's no like middle of the road fans for Five Nights at Freddy's. It's really it's a really interesting thing.
It is, my friend, but I still think that when you watch it, if you watch it as someone who critiques movies,
Mm-hmm.
You just had a very good opinion on Frankenstein, which just got nominated for a Golden Globe or two, I believe. Just wanted to let you know that's coming up here in a bit. We'll talk about the Golden Globe nominations, but yeah, this is going to be far and away from the Golden Globe nominations. I'll just say that, but it is in the running for the pop culture cosmos worst of the year for me. I'll just leave it at that. I'm still deciding between that and Amazon's War of the Worlds, but yeah,
can't even bring myself to watch that one.
Yeah, nor would I. As your longtime friend, I would advise you not to, unless you want pain in your life. And I'll just leave it at that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But it is, of course, the box office. I just wanted to go ahead and also mention as well, again, this past weekend, Five Nights at Freddy 2 closing in on $70 million, about 63, 65, Box Office Mojo saying. Again, Box Office Mojo, we still have that little issue there about
yes. Demon Slayer's like rose above 700 million again. I'm like, that must have been a strong weekend for this movie.
Yep, exactly. Well, that's what I want to. Yeah, it just ridiculous when it comes. Yes, we must give the exact one on that. So let's go ahead, Demon Slayer on that. There you go. It's right here, coming up here. Where is it at? All right here. Oh, here it is. Yeah,
number 6. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, back up to 768. Yes. So in 1 week now, Josh. Okay, in 1 week it went from 662 to 768, and it is no longer on the domestic charts. So, and 2 weeks ago we reported on how it was doing big for 1 week, in China before relations between Chinese and Japanese, or the China and Japan, fell out, and the box office dramatically dropped the next week in China on it because of it. So yeah, figure that one out. But going back to the box office, Five Nights at Freddy is $63 million, over $100 million worldwide. Zootopia 2, $915 million worldwide after a $43 million take here in the US, closing in on $1 billion. Your thoughts on this, my friend?
I mean, I think we both simultaneously agreed last week that this was probably going to happen. The big question here is, will it pass Lilo and Stitch? Because I feel like at the rate, if you look at the rate at which Lilo and Stitch climbed versus Zootopia, like Zootopia 2 is it's like a prodigy film right now. I mean, look at how fast it has climbed in a matter of like 2 weeks. So I definitely think that this is going to overtake Lilo and Stitch. But
no doubt, because it's already within. It's almost $100 million. It's all, about a little over $100 million behind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the question is how far up the food chain it will get. I don't think it'll beat Nesha 2 at $1.9 billion. I think that's safe for the time being. But I think it's going to get in probably about 1.5. Well, I'm thinking 1.4, 1.5 is where to go, which would be a great success for Disney on that one. Wicked for Good dropped 73%. That's a huge drop.
Shocking.
Third weekend, right now, looking at worldwide for that, $440 million. It still got nominated for a couple of awards, I think. Cynthia Erivo got nominated for a Golden Globe, but otherwise it got ignored. I think it's probably justified in the fact that it is lower critically rated than the original, which was so good last year. But I don't know if this is actually going to generate a nice profit or not, because it started out big, Josh, but it still has a huge price tag attached to it. I understand they filmed Wicked and Wicked for Good at the same time, but these two movies have a huge price tag to it. Wicked justified its price tag. It hasn't reached. It'll probably reach around a little between $500 and $600 million. I'm assuming that's more than the break even, but I don't know with these studios for Wicked for Good.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, you would imagine they wouldn't spend over 200 million on something like that, but I guess it's really anybody's guess right now.
Anybody's guess right now, indeed. So we'll see how that plays itself out. Then again, also as well, Jujutsu Kaisen, another good opening for an anime movie from G Kids. Jujutsu Kaisen Execution with $10 million domestically. That movie, I think, how's it doing worldwide? About 40 million. So it's gonna make a nice little chunk of change out there. Another successful anime movie. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Probably one of the more surprising movies, because you and I thought this was a dead franchise, and it's ordered over $200 million worldwide at the box office. Then you have in sixth place Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair. People actually went out to see this. I would have. I want to see if there's ever come to a type of media. I would like to have this as a Blu-ray personally for the full 4-hour plus movie. I know there's a 15-minute intermission that they put for theaters in it. I'm happy to see that there was success despite the mean words by Quentin Tarantino earlier this week.
Let me just touch on that for a minute. Like I had a lot of respect for Quentin Tarantino, but it has kind of waned after that. Like he just got up there and sounded like such a pompous ass, man. I like Paul Dano. Like, what right does he have to say Paul Dano is not a good actor? Like, there's so many people out there who would disagree with that statement, but you don't make your films and your favorite films sound good by putting down what other people have done. Like, that is, I don't know. Like, a lot of these old school filmmakers are doing that though. Like, even like Scorsese has done that to some extent. Like, we're trying to encourage a group of filmmakers to come up and make things that are outside of the box, and you don't do it by being a jackass,
And I can understand people, maybe going off on Owen Wilson, who's had kind of a, he has a certain Owen Wilson thing, wow, and he has a I can understand people going after him. I think he's probably like not even bothered by it. Matthew Lillard at CCXP was bothered by it, and he is hurt by those comments made by it. He did, he was unnecessarily, in my opinion, dragged into it. Whether or not you like or dislike his ability as an actor, I just don't think he should have been brought into that conversation. But
Oh,
okay, whatever. Whether you think he's bad actor or good actor.
nobody should have been dragged into that.
No, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, nobody should have been brought in that. And Paul Dano, I disagree because with Quentin Tarantino's, especially because you saw him in the Riddler in the Batman. I really thought he killed it in that
I did too.
performance. And the movie with Steven Spielberg's movie, the one where he did with the family going from Arizona to as far as it's concerned. So.
Yeah, well, even like Ruby Sparks, man, was a good one, and There Will Be Blood. Like I liked his role in that.
That's the one where he criticized him on the Fablemans. I thought he was really good in that, and I was disappointed to hear him say such mean things about it, especially coming from a guy who is one of the greatest auteurs of the past 30 years, Josh.
Yeah.
But could also be considered one of the worst actors. The worst,
Sure, yeah.
he is in Dusk Till Dawn, and also as well Pulp Fiction, and also Reservoir Dogs. I would probably say if you didn't know he was directing it, you would probably say, why is that guy acting in this movie?
What is this?
Yeah, so those movies are so good that you kind of forget that he's there, but yeah, his acting wasn't stellar. So it's like, don't throw stones, a type of deal. But it is, of course, at the box office, pretty good weekend. This next weekend doesn't have really a lot to offer. I'm waiting for Avatar: Fire and Ash, which we'll talk about here in a second. But right now, seeing was good. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. What are your thoughts out there? Did you go to see it? Did you think it was bad as what I said it was? Is, I believe? Or did you like it? And if you did, more power to you. I'm really happy for you if you did. And hopefully for you, evolves the Five Nights at Freddy's universe even more. But what are your thoughts on FNAF 2? Please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, it's Josh the Great Peterson along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Want to go ahead and mention before we get into the really nitty gritty with the Warner Brothers deal, I wanted to mention while Josh and I were setting up for today, the Golden Globe nominations were announced, my friend. And it's so funny because I think, in an indirect way, they gave the middle finger to Jeff Keighley.
Yeah.
Why do you say that, Gerald? Well, if you take a look at the honorees, in the best picture, best drama, best TV, best whatever, you notice projects in the case that were nominated in the case of Avatar: Fire and Ash and Plurbius, which have not either fully been completed yet or not even been presented to an audience, get nominated.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting when I scrolled down and saw that list. Like there's some favoritism happening here for sure.
Yeah. We're assuming that Avatar: Fire and Ash is going to be a huge box office success. I would bank on it pretty much, but it was already nominated in the outstanding box office, whatever, it's the newly created Golden Globe Award for that as far as box office hits per se. So you could take that for what it's worth on there. And then Plurbius was in the best drama for TV shows. But again, it just, like I said, for Jeff Keighley's Game Awards that couldn't finish nominating Dispatch in a higher category. I think it was a big FU to him. But I will say, as far as the categories are concerned, it covered most of it. There's not too many snubs, and I don't want to say Wicked for Good was snubbed in a lot of places because it just isn't as good as movie as Wicked by most people's observations. So I think that should be without saying, my friend. But your thoughts on the Golden Globe nominations? Anything stick out to you before I name some of them off?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, man. I haven't seen like a majority of these movies. Like I've heard about them. Like Frankenstein, I've watched, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best motion picture of the year, but it'll be interesting. We get to the animated scene. It'll be interesting to see like K-pop. It's either going to be K-pop Demon Hunters, Demon Slayer, Zootopia 2. But yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be a Wild West category there. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I've only seen a few of these movies. So go ahead and take it away, man.
Well, I'll start off with Best Motion Picture Drama, Frankenstein, Hamnet, It Was Just an Accident, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. That's how they do it. They do two separate categories instead of just one for Best Picture. So Best Picture, Musical or Comedy, Blue Moon, Begonia, Marty Supreme, No Other Choice, Nouvelle Vague, from Netflix, and or Nouvelle Vague, you could say. One Battle After Another from Warner Brothers, which will probably be the big heavy favorite going in. Best Motion Picture Animated, Arco, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu Nayaba Infinity Castle, Elio, K-pop Demon Hunters, Little Emil or the Character of Rain, and Zootopia 2. Now, I did want to say one of those two smaller ones, Josh, did get the award recently ahead of K-pop Demon Hunters, which was in second place and finished recently over the weekend as well. So keep an eye. There could be an upset there, though. I just wanted to mention that. Cinematic and box office achievement. Again, Avatar, Fire and Ash. I guess we're just going to assume there. F1, K-pop Demon Hunters. I mean, that's, again, cinematic and box office achievement. K-pop Demon Hunters hasn't been out, hasn't even been out a total month combined in the theaters, but okay. I guess you're just assuming there. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, Sinners, Weapons, Wicked for Good, and Zootopia 2. Best Motion Picture, non-English language. It Was Just an Accident, which I think a lot of people are talking about, and Sentimental Value. Stellan Skarsgård, my friend, I think he's going to get the kind of love for Sentimental Value that he didn't get for Andor, and he should have gotten for Andor. So I may be able to go ahead and say thank you for recognizing him because he killed it in Andor. Sarat, the voice of Hind Rajab, No Other Choice, The Secret Agent for the non-English language. And then you go into the categories as far as actors, actresses, whatnot. It was just interesting. Julie Roberts, Jennifer Lawrence were, well, I'll just say this, Josh, because they have a separate actors in for drama and then also for comedy and musical, and sometimes they just stretch the limits of what a comedy and musical is interpreted as by them.
Yeah.
It allows for a lot of actors or actresses who probably weren't going to get a sniff at Oscar nominations to get a chance in this. So I will let your, I guess, determination be on that as far as what you're thinking. Like, for instance, The Rock probably will not get an Oscar nomination, but he did get a Golden Globe nomination for the Smashing Machine. Oscar Isaac, who we talked about, maybe not his best work in Frankenstein. He got a Golden Globe nomination as well. I mean, you're going to see that throughout because again, it splits it up between two separate categories. So again, you take for that what you will, but anything else stick out as far as individuals, as far as awards nominations that you think might be ignored or that you think deserve better as far as before we get into the TV part of it?
No, not that I can see. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen a lot of these movies, so I can't say for sure like what's good and what isn't. The F1, like I know you watched it. I don't know if I would call it a cinematic achievement,
Cinematography, like that I would, because shot on IMAX, it looks beautiful. It's probably one of the best racing movies of all time as far as from a cinematic sense. It's
from a
pretty
cinematic
generic.
sense. But we
Yeah,
were talking about dialogue earlier, and this movie has some awful, awful
yeah,
dialogue.
yeah, and I can't disagree with you there. So I mean, okay, it is what it is, but cinematography wise, it's a beautiful movie to look at. So
Yeah.
I would probably put it in that category on a technical standpoint, but a overall standpoint is it isn't one of the 10 best movies of the year or anywhere close
Yeah.
as far as that part of it. Best TV series drama: The Diplomat, The Pit, Pluribus. Again, a show that's not even finished its first season run, getting so much love. Is it well deserved? Yes, but again, it's just telling Jeff Keighley you need to get your act together on the Game Awards. Severance, of course, Slow Horses and The White Lotus. Best TV series, musical or comedy, Abbott Elementary, The Bear. I'm not so high on The Bear in the third season. I think they had 1 or 2 great episodes, and then that's it. The rest of the Kazana, Hacks, Nobody Wants This, Only Murders in the Building, and The Studio, which I think should get it because that was the best comedy this year that I've seen. Best television limited series, Adolescence, All Her Fault, The Beast in Me, Black Mirror, Dying for Sex, and The Girlfriend. I think Adolescence is going to walk away with it. And then, yeah, it just goes back into the TV series once again, as far as the actors and actresses that have been nominated. Again, they separate it out to add more and include more actors in there. So again, nothing that I see is really out of the norm. Again, I know that the Wicked fans are not going to be happy because they only have a small number of nominations, but I really think compare Wicked for Good is, from what I'm hearing, and I have another daughter that saw it, it's just not hitting the same kind of mark as the original Wicked. So I don't think you should get awards just based off of, oh, it's been a great run for Wicked or whatnot, so let's give it some award nominations. No, you give it because it's a good movie or not a good movie, and it's
Well,
not quite as good as the first, so it shouldn't get as much love as the first.
I feel like that's a lot of the movies on here, though. They're just there, not necessarily like earning their laurels. So, uh, yeah. Sorry, I don't know what my mind was wandering off there. I was trying to think about like Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Like, why is that even there? It's
Best cinematic achievement. I mean, it just needed something to fill up. Is it every movie that's going to make over $500 million? Is that the deal? I
like,
don't know.
that's what I'm asking. Like, how does this work? How do you get, not like we were talking about varieties like best comedies the other day, or like what qualifies as a comedy, So we're like, here, what qualifies as a good movie? Is it just like a panel voted on this stuff, or was there a criteria, or what? Because like all this list of everything is kind of all over the place on here.
Let's go back to that again. This made up one that they just recently added on, best box office performer or whatnot. Why is Superman not in there? That still has earned more money than Wicked for Good, by over $100 million as of this recording. We don't know if it's going to make more money than Superman, and at this point, it's touch and go if it will.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 200, almost $200 million away from having to make that. So I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand that process. In fact, I don't even understand that category. We're having a nomination in the Golden Globes. Okay, this is a nomination for Golden Globe for money making in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one of them is K-pop Demon Hunters, which made its money, or the majority of its money, on a streaming platform. It's been limited in theaters. So I don't know. Again, I don't understand the concept of sometimes what these award shows do. We talked about the Game Awards and we talked about this Golden Globes. I just don't understand I think it's just to placate. I think we should just call it the placating awards when it comes to all these award shows, because you're just placating to try and kiss up to some of those in the industry, and again, creating this box office achievement award at the Golden Globes. I just think isn't the dollars alone that they make enough?
Yeah, you'd think.
You would think, but they are the Golden Globe Award nominations. Again, some really good shows and really good movies are qualified in this. Again, The Pit, Severance, Pluribus, The Studio, really fine work in television, and then also as well in the movies, of course, One Battle After Another, which has been universally praised and probably sweep a lot of the awards, even though it probably won't generate a profit at the box office. And then some other movies as well. This Hamnet has been getting a lot of Chloe Zhao after leaving the Marvel universe with the Eternals and Eternal Damnation. From there, has now earned praise for her work in Hamnet as far as directing that movie. So those two, I think, are going to be two of the top as far as vote getters for that category. But what are your thoughts out there on the Golden Globe nominations? Go ahead, my friend.
I have one more thought here. Look at this, like this, the best podcast, right? These are all podcasts that are owned by
What
either.
the hell is that doing on the Golden Globes?
But if you notice, they're either podcasts that are run by celebrities or owned by big companies. So you look at this and you're like, there's no way, like the celebrities they should not have even had anything to do with podcasts. That was the way that like the average person can build an audience, like get content out into the world, build an audience. And then it was taken over by the celebrities during COVID. And look at this, there's not a single like just underdog podcast on this list. It's all things that feature actors or are owned by media corporations.
Even though you and I both know that we were robbed of a Golden Globe nomination, my friend.
I know. Amen.
Amen on that one. But yes, there is a best podcast Golden Globe award that they're going to issue out. That's just absolutely just ridiculous. All right, whatever. But of course, it is the Golden Globe nominations. If you have thoughts on the Golden Globe nominations or anything relating to the Golden Globes as we get into the award season, please let us know your thoughts. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, we still have plenty of time to discuss probably the biggest news story of the recent times, and that is the bidding war. And this is what you could say is an all-out bidding war for the rights to all or part, depending on who you talk to, for Warner Brothers. And there was supposedly a I repeat this, Josh, civil way of doing this with a bidding process by secret bid. They went to a certain stage, and then they went back for final bids at the time. And I used the quote final bids, Josh, on that. And the winner, according to the board of governors for Warner Brothers, was Netflix at a little over $82 billion, I believe. After they're buying it for a certain price. They're buying and purchasing what was part of Warner Brothers. There's a certain part. They only wanted part of the Warner Brothers conglomerate. They didn't want the media part of it. They wanted more of the film and the IPs part of it per se.
Yeah.
And so I think also as well, did they want the HBO part of it? I'm not entirely.
Yes, they want the streaming studio. They want all the streaming stuff, and they want the IPs like for the movies and stuff. So they're only buying
for CNN and all the other related Turner Network stuff. If you go back to the Turner days, they did not want that.
Yeah, and they don't want the gaming studio too. I forget what it's called, but
the Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers Gaming, WB Games. There you go. Makers of the Batman Arkham series and whatnot. So, they only wanted part of it, but actually gave a higher dollar amount than other suitors, which included Paramount, and that was per share price, which totaled out to $82 billion.
Yeah.
Well, we've heard because it was Netflix, and because they said they kind of said they were gonna for the upcoming movies stay on that theatrical format, but then go into a format as far as for theatrical releases, which would be more aligned with what they feel their consumers want, which i.e. means going to Netflix sooner and coming out of the box office and theater chains sooner.
Yeah.
This ticked off a lot of people, both on the left, both on the right, both in Hollywood and both out of Hollywood, both in political platforms and entertainment platforms. And it just incensed a lot of people over the past weekend. Yeah. And wouldn't you know, Monday morning, and I'm glad we did this show a little bit later, because Monday morning came about, and lo and behold, Paramount, which made its bid, but wanted the whole enchilada, as the phrase goes. As far as the whole thing, they decided they want to do a hostile takeover. So they've now bid $31 a share. I believe it is called. I think it's $31 a share, or is it $30? $30. Anyways, it comes out to offer for the entire thing over the bid price of what Warner Brothers, excuse me, what Netflix offered for Warner Brothers in this civil way that they had the bidding done. They now are attempting to do a hostile takeover for a share price that's more than what Netflix offered, but for the entire property itself, the whole thing, the TV networks, everything on that. So, I mean, the president's got involved. There was secret meetings supposedly between the Ted Sarandos, who runs Netflix, and the president before this deal was offered and made, as far as the Netflix part of it. And the Ellisons, who are getting backed by the Saudis to help them out, are looking to see if they can make a hostile takeover. And this is just going to be messy. So even if Paramount wins, it's still going to be messy, and a lot of people are going to oppose that. If Netflix wins, a lot of people are going to be opposed to it. I mean, we talked about the Xbox deal when they bought Activision, and I thought that was going to go a lot smoother than what it ultimately did. I think this is going to be something where it's going to be very interesting to watch going forward. I have no clue what's going to go through. If Netflix is the winner and ultimately stays the winner, I don't know if it's going to go through. If Paramount wins it and another political regime comes in, they may squash it. I don't know. By the time that the money, again, this is just all one big mess. It turned from a civil affair with secret bids to whatever it is we're seeing now, and I'm just eating popcorn and enjoying what I'm seeing.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is that like this is the first time I've ever seen like a United States president get involved in some sort of deal like this. Because yeah, I mean, I'm trying to catch up on what you said when you said Trump met with Netflix. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I'm trying to like research what was said. But yeah, Trump said straight up, and I quote, "I'll be involved with that decision too." Like that's crazy to me, man. Like
Mhm.
what is the fear here? Is it that Netflix is kind of they're kind of their own thing, they're like a free spirit, whereas like Paramount and Paramount the owners of Paramount come from more like political and old money. Like what's the or Netflix is harder to control. Like what's the issue here?
I guess the fact is, again, that they're very close in allegiance with the Ellisons, as far as the Trump administration, and they want to see it go a certain way. And if it doesn't, they're going to be very unhappy about it. But in the middle of praising Ted Sarandos, Trump said, like you said, he's going to get involved, or said he was going to get involved in this process. And we've never seen this before in entertainment history to this extent. I mean, the FCC has gotten involved, of course, and regulatory commissions, FTC as well, Federal Trade Commission as well. They've gotten, as far as for a monopoly purposes, they're talking about it, and I understand that they have to look it over and see if it is monopoly as far as the shares. I don't think it should be if Netflix or Paramount buys it. Still think that there's so much uh, variance between other avenues. Maybe if Netflix buys it, that they would assume that there might be that cause because they own such a share of the streaming outlet. So if you want to say that that's the case, I could see your argument there. I could understand that, but um, I don't know. At just this point, it just seems very interesting to see how Warner Brothers selling itself off has become also a key political issue as well, Josh.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing though. Like nowadays everything is a political issue and it shouldn't be, but I guess that's just like the way of the world now. So I don't know. It's interesting because I know that didn't we talk about this last week? Like Trump is friends with the guy that owns Paramount too. Like isn't that
Hmm.
a
The Ellisons.
yeah, yeah, that's
The son owns, I think, is the major force behind the Paramount, but the father is the one that has the most, money. Larry and David Ellison. we're talking about here. But the son is the driving force as far as the Paramount concerned. Because when he took it over, when he and his they bought it over earlier this year. They've made some dramatic changes, and obviously, this is one of the changes that they want to go ahead and make. Paramount, which you and I have talked about, has been an afterthought in the streaming industry for some time, and
Yeah.
as doing okay in the theatrical movie business, now has all this clout because of what is being backed behind it. It is what it is, and but it's just interesting to see that this civil bidding process, what started out as a very civil bidding process, okay, this is how it's going to be done. Send us your secret bids. Okay, we're going to go one step further. What is your final bid? This is, and you thought, okay, it's done. All right, everybody, it
Yeah.
was done fairly. The people showed their cards. All right, but now somebody's saying, okay, you know what? I don't like the hand I was dealt with. I don't like the hand I gave out. I'm going to go ahead and change my hand. I want to go ahead and say, somebody's being, I don't know if you say sore loser or not, but again, it just seems like, somebody doesn't want to let this go at Paramount. And I'm assuming that's the Ellisons, of course, but it is what it is, my friend. But I know that if they get it, a lot of people are going to object. If Netflix gets it, a lot of people are going to object, and it's going to dramatically change the movie industry if Netflix gets it. I do know that for sure, Josh.
Yeah. Well, it seems like Netflix already has some existing contracts with Warner Bros. Because if you looked on Netflix lately, there's a lot of movies that say, an HBO Max original or whatever on there. So, obviously there's a relationship that had already been pre-existing there. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't. Paramount doesn't have a lot to offer, and that might be why they're trying to acquire Warner Brothers so heavily. But my big fear here is that whatever group acquires it, that there's going to be too many political fingers inside of it dictating what kind of content is made, and that's something I'm not okay with.
Neither am I, my friend, and that could be a problem. And we'll have to wait and see. But this bidding process seems to have gone by the wayside, as Paramount, as of now, has offered the shareholders of Warner Brothers a hostile takeover with a higher bid. So we'll see if Netflix goes higher, or will somebody else come into the fray? Will Disney say, you know what? I think we're going to go ahead and see if we can go ahead and put our 2 cents in there. But
Interesting. Or Apple. What if Apple came along and
or Google? Google right now is one of the highest out. Them and Netflix are the highest visual entities as far as viewing is concerned, and so they could put their 2 cents in there. But right now, the 2 cents, Josh, is now worth over $108 billion, because that's the hostile takeover bid with cash and other subsidies. It's $108 billion. So if you want to go into it with more than $108 billion, which to me is overvaluing the entire Warner Brothers portfolio. But hey, to each their own. To each their own.
Desperation's a stinky cologne, man. But what if meanwhile Microsoft's like, hold my beer? And we see them get involved.
No, I think they're staying after what happened with the Activision deal. I think they're staying far. Yeah. They got that $80 billion price tag for Activision. That's going to stink with them for a long time, because they will not recoup that for quite some time, if at all. So we'll have to wait and see. But what are your thoughts out there on the current situation going on with Warner Brothers? So many entities seemingly interested. They're willing to get nasty, willing to hostile takeover. Paramount's latest hostile takeover move. Who knows? By the time we come back on later this week, there could be something different in the story, or next week as well. Please let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But before we get to your MCU review, my friend, before we head on out, I did want to give some love to CCXP. I know we talked about it in recent years, and Josh and I try to highlight some of these other pop culture conventions that are getting major entries, to get a major notice Stars are being flown down to Brazil. Stars are being flown to New York for New York Comic Con. But stars in this case are being flown to Brazil to showcase themselves in their upcoming projects. I think the biggest news was The Boys finally getting a start date in April 8th, 2026. Your thoughts? Did you get a chance to see The Boys season 5 trailer that debuted at CCXP in Brazil?
I did not actually. I missed out on all this stuff till this morning. So this is it for the boys, right? This is the grand finale, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. We will
So
see what happens.
hopefully they'll go out with a bang, man. I mean, I hear that both of the Winchester brothers are making an appearance in this one from Supernatural, because that's like Eric Kripke's kids, like Sam and Dean Winchester. Was it Padalecki and Soldier Boy or whatever? What his I can't remember what Jensen Ackles. So it'll be interesting, man. I'm excited to see how it all comes together.
They showed upcoming shows: Fallout Season 2, Paradise Season 2, as well. Well, I want to say one thing about Hulu and Disney before I forget. It was so interesting on YouTube. YouTube, you have commercials and whatnot if you don't pay for the YouTube Premium. It's so funny because I was seeing an ad for a Disney Plus Hulu package, and they were showing one of their shows, and some attorney show, maybe the one with Kim Kardashian. I forget which one it was, but the guy drops an F-bomb. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a Disney Plus advertisement on YouTube. A, I've never seen an advertisement or a commercial drop an F-bomb. B, little did I think it was going to be for something related to the Disney universe. So I just wanted to add that in there, Josh, because it just very few things surprised me, and that surprised me. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the censorship is slowly like going away, because things on streaming services have the privilege of like using bad words. Even like Daredevil last season, like they started to use a lot more like coarse language than they did before. Less violence, more coarse language, which is kind of strange to me. But
yet you can't drink in an alcohol commercial, which blows me away. I'm not a drinker at all, but just blows me away that you can't drink in an alcohol commercial. Yet, if we go to a football game, we'll see the guy chugging a beer right as he come out from break. So
it's definitely interesting landscape that we're living in here. But speaking of Daredevil season 2, I did happen to see that they are dropping a trailer for that. I've had Jessica Jones and Matthew Lillard's character. It'll be interesting to see, because the villain is not Kingpin. The villain in this one is a villain to Kingpin. So it'll be interesting to see if Matt Murdock ends up teaming up with Kingpin to take this guy out or not. So
that's where Matthew Lillard made the comments at that panel for Daredevil Born Again in regards to Quentin Tarantino on that. Wonder Man was also shown off and showcased. There was a lot of good things. And again, CCXP is a very underrated pop culture convention, but it's becoming bigger and bigger. They flew Timothy Chalamet to talk about Marty Supreme there in Brazil. So people got to watch out for CCXP. But if you guys see it or anything as far as that you thought was important that we didn't cover at CCXP, let us know in the comments below, or popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, we do have time with all the stuff that was going on in a very busy, we were being sarcastic at the beginning, but very busy show before we head out. Where were we at the MCU review?
The genesis of it all, man. Iron Man.
Okay. There we
it's
go.
a little known movie. It came out in 2010, featuring Robert Downey Jr. No one ever heard of it.
Nope.
Nobody. It was completely off everybody's radar. And boom, there it was. What's funny is that Iron Man had been like rumored for years, right? And like there are various people attached to it, and so everyone was like, "Oh, it's never going to happen." And then, lo and behold, it happened, and it showed the world what a superhero movie could be. And I think that movie is responsible for everything, even outside the Marvel universe, that we have seen culminate in the 15, 16 years since it came out. So
Absolutely.
It definitely like it redefined the superhero genre, and then just on top of that, like the Samuel L. Jackson pieces in the end, right? Like I'm putting a team together. Oh my gosh, I can still remember how like ecstatic the entire theater was when that happened.
Absolutely. So, uh, Iron Man, one of the quintessential movies of this century because of what it did and what it set up for the future going forward and the success of the MCU. By the way, if you missed Avengers Endgame and you're one of the 5 people who did in the theaters during the course of 2019, you'll get your chance in September of next year, as it was announced that they will show that in theaters ahead, of course, Avengers Doomsday coming out later that year. And then also the extended versions of Lord of the Rings will be appearing in theaters on 3 successive weekends in January as well. So check your local theaters for that. So it is, of course, the MCU review. Before we go to your Game Award predictions, real quick, what is next in line for the MCU review?
Next up we have the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton.
There you go. I still want to go ahead and throw some love to the Eric Bana one when we do. Hopefully, I'll be reminded of that when we do, because
Yeah.
I think the Eric Bana one gets no love, and I think it deserves it. But before we head on out, my friend, I do want to hear your thoughts on the Jeff Keighley show coming up later this week, the TGAs, the Game Awards, the show that should be the most important for the video game industry and the most valued and prized for the video game industry, has just turned into just a glut for commercialism and what's up coming up next. People are more excited about that than the actual award show itself, because the award show has just been devalued over the years, but it's still whatever when it comes to TGAs. But your thoughts on the TGAs before we head on out?
So I mean definitely I think Claire Obscure is gonna clean up. I'm looking
Agreed.
at I think I think we're gonna see Claire Obscure, we're gonna see Hollow Knight, and we're gonna see Death Stranding 2 winning a butt ton of awards. But I think
Gotta
Claire Obscure
gotta give love to his buddy, right?
Oh yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, and I'll be honest, like Death Stranding 2 is not a bad game. Like I think it definitely deserves best best soundtrack. Claire Obscure I think deserves best narrative, but those are the two that I'm like set on. But I'd be curious to see it because you have like Ghost of Yotei is, from what I understand, just a repeat of Ghost of Tsushima, which is with a different character. And I'd be surprised to see if like Battlefield or Silent Hill F. These are all games that were nominated for stuff, but I'd be surprised if they won anything because they're just kind of like not under the radar, but they're just kind of there, right? Like if you look at all the things that came out this year, they're just like it's like they were put there just because they needed something there.
I agree with you, especially when it comes to Claire Obscure 33, and I do think he'll throw some love to his friend because he kind of steers the direction towards that, the narrative towards his friend, even though Death Stranding 2 has not been praised to the level that the original was, but it is what it is. But we'll find out. We'll go ahead and cover it hopefully on the next show. If not, we'll definitely cover it here next week. But I did want to go ahead and mention one snub for the Golden Globes, which, because you just reminded me of it, was best soundtrack, best sound, best music for Nine Inch Nails and Tron
K-pop
Ares. That
Demon
was
Hunters.
K-pop.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're
Well, no,
right.
that was nominated. That was nominated. Golden is in there and all that. So,
Yeah, I think
Tron
they're going
Ares,
to win. Yeah,
yeah,
trying to. Yeah, yeah, it was a good soundtrack for sure.
Nine Inch Nails was snubbed, but yes, I do think K-pop Demon Hunters will find success at the box office. Not only, excuse me, at the Golden Globes, I do think they'll find it. They've already found success at the box office, I guess, for the month that they were in there because they were nominated ahead of Superman, which earned
Mhm.
$500 million more. But again, they stretch the limits on what their description is with the Golden Globes. But we'll see how that pans itself out, and we'll go ahead and report on it right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. So for Josh the Great Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
to the pop culture cosmos.